Hey everyone, and welcome to the Stock Talk for January 23rd. So we're going to do some technical analysis on broad markets and look at some of your comments made from the last video. So looking at S&P 500 SPY on the daily time frame, we can see that we've been on a consistent uptrend, obeying the light blue line or the 20-period moving average since really mid-October, and with the exception of one day, and we've been holding over this line and above this line. That is a very strong uptrend. And in the last video, we did talk about the potential for a blow off top. And how we measured this was the deviation between the top of the candle made in 2018 as an example. So we just take this measuring tool and go towards the 20-period moving average on the weekly time frame. That was a 7.3 to 7.4% deviation. At this current time period, with the week closing tomorrow, our deviation's around 5.1 to 5.2%. So while we're not there yet, we're getting a little bit close. So we'll be watching, especially if the markets continue pushing up in a parabolic move that would warrant a little bit of caution. However, this is nonetheless bullish in the long term. When we look at the S&P 500, first of all, you can see our red line projection continues to push higher. But what we can see is on the weekly time frame, the bulls are fully in control, and that is we've had a 2-year long consolidation. We've talked about this in the past. We came down in 2018 holding the 200-period moving average, or your red line, and now we've rallied up and we broke out in late last year. What did we do in 2015 and 2016? Actually, a very similar technical pattern. We consolidated for a good part, actually less than 2 years. As you can see, we broke out a little bit around close to 2 years. But what happened thereafter, after the breakout? Tested the 200-period moving average, very close to it, and we rallied higher for one entire year, actually. I'm not saying that we're going to rally the entire year, but I'm saying that it shouldn't be to anyone's surprise that we're rallying this way. Because if you take a look at these weekly candles that were made over here, there was a little pause. You can see just from this breakout area to the top was a 12% move. Our current breakout area to where we are right now is an 8.6% move. Again, this is just an example before the markets consolidated before the next push higher. So can we push higher in a significant manner before the market consolidates, either in a parabolic move and then a snap off top, or consolidates to the right before the next? Certainly, right? And you can see there's still more room to work towards the upside if we're just comparing this to a very, I think, valid example, and that is in 2017. So overall, things still look okay from this standpoint. And let's take a look at the hourly time frame for SPY. There was some volatility, as you can see, early morning and late last night. And what happened? We came down towards your 200-period moving average on the hourly time frame. Bulls held this level, rallied it at the latter half of the day, and pushed higher. So overall, this trend continues to be to the upside. This hasn't changed. And so I also want to point something out here, and that is, there's a lot of talk about overbought or RSI levels. We know this in terms of overbought and oversold. Those words mean literally not too much at all. RSI levels in a bull market will fluctuate. In any ticker in a bull market, I think, especially if you're looking at tech stocks or stocks correlated with the S&P 500, they will fluctuate between the values of 50 to 90. So it'll go to maybe 60, goes to 80, comes back to 70, goes back to 80, goes back to 70, so on and so forth. That's how stocks or broad markets maintain an uptrend. So when you look at an RSI, just because it pops to an 80 value doesn't mean that the stock is going to fall, right? Because in a bull market, and we always have to distinguish whether this market is a bull market or bear market, because they're two very different trading patterns. But in a bull market, when we have RSIs fluctuating like that, that's a very healthy sign for continuation uptrend. Okay, and so that's what we see right here. Let's take you on to the VIX, or the volatility index. I want to show you the VIX very quickly because you can see the VIX has been stationary down here between the values of 11.8 and 13. So that's pretty much it. Don't see a very clear reversal in the VIX, and therefore That's that. And then we'll quickly glance at TVIX, which is the volatility tracking ETN. TVIX, one of the most predictable patterns out there. We've constantly said this for months now. It's on a lower high and lower low. It made an all-time low 3 days ago. Does this mean that it will continue making all-time lows? Yes, probability continues to favor that TVIX will make all-time lows until I can see some sort of reversal in broad markets and reversal on TVIX, which we don't see at this present time period. This is obviously on a downtrend. And so there's a couple of, learning points here, I think, is one, as the market broke out, there's always something to worry about, right? What was the news item in the past? What is it? Trade wars, right? With China. That's a news item. Then it was impeachment. Then it's coronavirus. Then it's some missiles fired over somewhere. News in the end, I think, doesn't really matter to the markets. In the end, the markets will do what the markets will want to do. If it's a negative event in a bull market, chances are it's going to get brushed off. Maybe we get some intraday, maybe a few days of volatility, and then it rallies back to the upside. In a bear market, you'll see news items that look positive and they'll be construed negative. So again, some learning points. And then obviously, as we continue to break out, bears have all sorts of reasons why the markets can drop, because people have, in terms of market psychology, I think some short-term memory. They think, this is what really sparks the fear in everyone, and that is this sort of decline. So if bears can project this sort of move to here, to here, to here, to here, then that's the fear that allows the markets to push higher. Now, we've talked about this in the past. When we significantly deviated from where we've broken out, there's no more fear. Bears are jumping onto the bullish side. We've got to be careful during that time. All right. So with that said, let's move on to your tickers and your comments. And by the way, we do this on a day-to-day basis. Broad markets, commodities, all sorts of things. Tickers to watch list in our group. So link is in the comment section. Check us out if you haven't already. Rizwan, we'll take a look at your ticker GD. So GD actually did some technical analysis on this already. I took a look at this ticker, and that is, you can see a series of higher lows being set and higher highs. So far it's good, but we want to make sure that this ticker can hold the level of support 176. Okay, so ideally I like to see us holding 176 and attempting to reverse this daily pattern and continue this daily pattern back to the upside. Your resistance would obviously be another higher high at that point in time, but more noticeably is on the weekly time frame. So I actually pointed this out. There's like a wedge going on right now. So you can see some sort of wedge that's happening right now. Can you see this wedge? Okay, should this resolve to the upside on the weekly time frame, there could be some considerable upside, and you can see this wedge in the past, how it resolved to the upside, resulting in significant higher prices for this ticker. So something to watch out for in the coming weeks, I think, because this is the weekly time frame. Thanks, Rizwan. CC, can you comment on PALL? So PALL, and this one I actually took a look at your ticker as well, is Palladium ETF, and you can see Palladium has set several higher lows and higher highs as defined by an uptrend. What we can see right now is, yes, this one is on an uptrend, no doubt, right? I mean, no one should be questioning that this is on an uptrend, but what we don't want to see, we have to be cautious of, is when something like makes a parabolic top, something similar to this, okay? Sure, it can go up higher, but at one point we know that it will snap back. And snap back to where? Your 20 period moving average or your light blue line. So should we deviate significantly, let's say we get a 250 or 260, you have to be careful of those moves because it can snap back before that next run higher, or at least some consolidation. Ideally for Palladium, what I want to see is some consolidation before that next push higher, but obviously this is bullish. Peter, great video as always. The MJ stocks have my interest now. Hopefully they start taking off now. So MJ stands for those marijuana stocks or cannabis stocks. So yeah, we actually covered that with our group in terms of cannabis stocks. So interesting comment. Thank you for that. Natural gas, what's my take? So members also got a gist of natural gas on almost like a daily basis, but natural gas, we can take a look at UGAZ. UGAZ is 3 times leveraged bullish natural gas. So what we can see here is obviously series of lower highs. Here's your high, lower high. Here's your lower low. From what I can see in this chart pattern, I don't see a reversal just yet. So you just have to be very cautious because this is on a downtrending pattern, which I don't see an end in sight just yet. So there you go. JF, thanks for your comment, Spy345. So we had a poll question that is, where do you think ES will close by the end of June? So thank you for that comment. And then Rico, you think that it will close at 352.50. Appreciate that, Rico. And Steve, thank you for watching these videos. And once again, I want to keep this video as short as possible. I appreciate everyone watching this. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to everyone soon in the next one.